Start with now is to basically open and process the emblem that we want on the conning tower. In this case, it's emblem from the USS Catfish. What I'm doing here is correcting the brightness and the contrast a bit in Photoshop to get it more white and not so gray looking. What is important in Photoshop is to use the rulers, which you can switch on and off from the view tab, as you can see here. So when you move the cursor to ruler and hold down the left mouse button and drag, you get these guides, which are very useful if you want to use cropping tools, etc. In this case, we're going to use the ellipse tool. You drag that out, it's going to be like elliptic, but if you hold down shift, it will actually form a perfect circle. You can also adjust after you release that to the area you want exactly, and then when you're happy, you basically hit enter and you created a path. Now you can create a selection from that path. You can also inverse the selection. In this case, is the white area outside, which I now deleted. Go back. I'm still not happy with the colors, so I'm going to play a bit with the hue and the saturation here. I want the blue to be more black, so I'm going down in lightness and saturation. Go back to the brightness and contrast control and pump up that contrast a bit to make it really black. Go back to saturation here because there's still some yellow visible, so I go to the yellows and I bring down the saturation there a little bit and the lightness, and that's okay. Okay, next we're gonna do the kill markings for the conning tower, which I saved here. And as you can see, there's many stuff here, and I'm basically interested in only one or two of these. So what I'm doing is using the crop tool again. Gonna use the guides and the ruler here to basically get that crop or the selection tool exactly where I want it. Have to be a bit careful here when you select, but okay, selecting that, and to work a bit cleaner here, I'm gonna create a new canvas. Just an empty canvas where I can drag this flag over to, so it's ready to be applied later. Gonna select the second one, using the guide again, using that selection tool, the square or rectangle. Grabbing that. Now there's some green that came with that, so I'm gonna crop that off using the selection tool here, just hitting basically backspace or delete. Zoom in a bit to see what it looks like. And okay, next we're gonna open the actual skin of the tower. Normally the game is installed on the C drive. Program files, go to Ubisoft and 704 data, in this case textures, normal textures, and I'm gonna put in search string here NSS because that's where all the towers are at. Load that into Photoshop, and I prepared the coordinates here before this, so I know it's X328 and Y56. As you can see in the info window here and the ruler. I'm dragging that guide out to exactly where I want it, and the Y coordinate is next. Dragging that down using the ruler and the guide tool. Opening that emblem, it's already selected here, so I just drag that over. Of course it's too big, so I'm gonna put that at the guides and hit the edit tab, go down to free transform, move that center cursor so it will size to that corner, hitting shift and size that down to where I want it. Hitting enter, zooming in a bit to see what I'm doing. Resolution is not that good here, but it will look better in game. Okay, what we're gonna do now is to actually place those kill markings on the tower that we prepared before. Dragging that over. They are a bit too big, so we're gonna use the free transform tool. Zooming in a bit so we can see what we're doing. Going to edit, free transform, hitting the shift key to size that the size we want it. And here we're going to use duplicate layer. As you can see in the layers window, we did a layer 3 copy here. It's much more easy than to drag and to resize each time, so we're just going to basically copy the layer that we already found to be good, in this case 4 times. You can also use the arrow keys here to move stuff on the screen or to move stuff on the canvas. Going to go for the second flag here, or the second kill mark. As you can see here, I didn't choose the right layer. As layers is a very important part of Photoshop. Drag that over. I'm going to go to edit, free transform again, resize that, hitting shift to get the right size. Basically zooming in, positioning it using the arrow keys, doing copy layer, drag that down where I want it, duplicate layer, and as you can see I have many layers here, and in Photoshop you can merge these into one layer by selecting them and hit merge layers. So now we have one layer for flags and one layer for emblems. I had a spare layer here that I will delete. And we're going to try to save this, but it's trying to save as Photoshop or PDS. That's not what we want. So we're going to flatten this image. Basically hitting that flatten function, it's going to do all the layers down into one layer, and then we can save it as DDS. I already prepared a GME folder here. Going to save as DXT5 or ARGB. No maps needed. Save that and